Welcome back to the channel where we uncover the hidden stories behind coins you might just have sitting in your pocket. Rarest coins today, we're taking a deep dive into the 1967 Washington quarter dollar, a coin that most people wouldn't give a second glance, but some collectors believe it could be worth as much as $1.8 million in one rare case. That's right, nearly $2 million for a single quarter. Let's explore the history, what makes this coin special, and how one piece of metal could be worth a small fortune. Let's start with some background. The Washington quarter was first minted in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. The design featured Washington's profile on the obverse, created by John Flanagan, and it became a permanent part of U.S. coinage from that point on. Now fast forward to 1967, a time of transition in U.S. coin history. Just 2 years earlier, in 1965, the U.S. Mint made a huge decision to remove silver from most of its circulating coins, including the quarter. From 1965 onward, quarters were made of a copper-nickel clad composition. That makes the 1967 quarter one of the early non-silver issues. Over 1.5 billion quarters were minted in that year alone, so on the surface, the 1967 Washington quarter seems like one of the most common coins out there. But here's where it gets interesting. Despite its massive mintage, the 1967 Washington quarter has become a topic of intense discussion in numismatic circles. The year 1967 was during a coin shortage, and as a result, the U.S. Mint did not place mint marks on any of the quarters produced that year. So, there's no D for Denver, no S for San Francisco. Every 1967 quarter looks the same, or does it? Rumors began to spread in the coin community about the small number of 1967 quarters that were struck under unusual circumstances, such as on a silver planchet instead of the standard clad composition. Remember, silver plancets were still floating around the mint during this transitional period. If a silver blank from 1964 or earlier accidentally got mixed into a 1967 run, the result would be a hybrid coin that wasn't supposed to exist. That kind of mint error would be incredibly rare and incredibly valuable. Rarest coins. Then there's the story of the $1 million quarter. According to some reports, a unique 1967 Washington quarter error coin, possibly a silver planchet strike or an ultra-high-grade specimen with full strike and brilliant luster, has fetched as much as $1.8 million in a private sale. While the exact details remain confidential and not publicly confirmed through a major auction house, this figure has caused a wave of excitement among collectors and investors alike. Could a seemingly ordinary quarter actually be a millionaire's coin? Let's talk about what to look for. First, you want to examine the weight. A standard 1967 copper-nickel quarter should weigh about 5.67 grams. A silver quarter will be heavier, closer to 6.25 grams. If your 1967 quarter weighs more than it should, you could be holding a silver planchet error, a huge discovery. Second, examine the edge. A clad quarter will have a visible copper-colored edge. A silver quarter will not. If the edge of your 1967 quarter appears all silver with no copper line, that's a red flag, in a good way. Third, the condition. Condition matters a lot. A regular 1967 quarter in circulated condition is worth 25 cents, but one in uncirculated, mint state condition, especially one graded MS67 or higher, can sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Add in a rare error or unique strike quality, and the price can skyrocket onto the millions. One of the rarest varieties includes the 1967 SMSA or Special Mint Set A coins. These were not proofs and not regular business strikes. They were made with a unique finish and better detail during a time when no proof coins were being issued. Some of those SMS coins have nearly perfect surfaces and strong strikes, which are prized among collectors. An ultra-high-grade 1967 SMS quarter could easily be valued in the thousands. And if it has a rare error or an unusual metal composition, the sky is the limit. Now, a word of caution. The $1.8 million valuation is not for just any 1967 quarter. It's not something you'll find in every coin jar or change tray. That figure applies only to an extremely rare, possibly one of a kind rare or condition coin. But that's what makes this hobby so exciting. You never know when a rare treasure could show up in everyday life. So if you're going through old change, estate sales, or inherited coin collections, don't ignore the 1967 quarters. Weigh them. Examine them under a magnifying glass. Look for unusual color, luster, weight, or strike. And if you find something odd, get it authenticated and graded by reputable service like PCGS or NGC. That small step could make all the difference between face value and a life-changing discovery. To wrap it up, the 1967 Washington $quarter is more than just a relic of the past. It's a symbol of a pivotal moment in American coinage history, and under the right circumstances, with a little luck and a sharp eye, it might just be worth as much as $1.8 million. So keep looking, stay curious, and never underestimate the power of pocket change. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more rare coin stories, collecting tips, and hidden treasures. See you in the next one, and happy hunting. Would you like a version optimized for Shorts, TikTok, or with visual cues added for editing? Welcome back to the channel. Rarest coins. If you're into coins, collectibles, or just love a good story about hidden treasures, then you're going to want to stick around for this one. Today, we're diving deep into the mysterious and fascinating world of the 1993 Washington $quarter. That's right, a coin that you might have in your pocket. Change could be worth a fortune. And we're not talking small change. We're talking about a coin reportedly valued at $1.3 million. Sounds crazy? Let's get into it. First off, a bit of background. The Washington $quarter has been a staple in U.S. currency since 1932. It was introduced to commemorate the 200th birthday of George Washington, and it's been in circulation ever since. The obverse of the coin features the profile of George Washington, designed by John Flanagan, and the reverse originally showed an eagle with outspread wings. Now, the 1993 $quarter was minted in Denver, as indicated by the little diamond mark on the coin. In that year alone, over 600 million Washington quarters were produced in Denver, so the coin itself isn't rare, at least not at first glance. But when it comes to coin collecting, rarity isn't just about how many were made. It's also about errors, variations, conditions, and sometimes, even a mysterious story behind a single coin. So what makes the 1993 Washington $quarter so special? There are rumors and stories circulating in the collector world about a particular specimen that sold or was valued at $1.3 million. And no, this isn't some urban legend cooked up by the internet. There is actually a small handful of extremely rare quarters from the 1990s that have fetched staggering amounts at auction, largely due to unique minting errors or extremely rare die varieties. One theory behind the $1 million 1993 $quarter is that it may have been struck on a different planchet. That's the blank piece of metal used to make the coin. Imagine a quarter struck on a silver planchet or a transitional error using the wrong metal composition. That alone could send the value skyrocketing. Another possibility is a rare double die error, where the design is imprinted twice, causing an unusual and valuable doubling effect on the text or the imagery. Now, let's talk about condition. In the world of numismatics, condition is everything. A 1993 $quarter in circulated condition is generally worth just its face value, 25 cents. But an uncirculated example in mint state condition, especially graded MS67 or higher by a company like PCGS or NGC, can be worth a lot more. Even without a dramatic error, high-grade coins can fetch hundreds or even thousands of dollars. So how do you know if you have a valuable 1993 $quarter? First, check the condition. If your coin looks shiny and flawless, with no scratches, nicks, or wear, it might be worth grading. Second, look for errors. Use a magnifying glass and inspect the lettering, the edges, and the portrait. Look for signs of doubling, off-center strikes, or strange metal coloration. Third, check the weight. A normal 1993 $quarter should weigh about 5.67 grams. If it's significantly different, That's a red flag for a possible error coin. Let's circle back to that $1.3 million figure. Is it real? Can a 1993D quarter actually be worth that much? The truth is, it depends. There has been speculation and some unconfirmed reports of private sales reaching astronomical figures, but no verified public auction has ever recorded a 1993D quarter selling for over $1 million. However, that doesn't mean it's impossible. The coin collecting world has seen stranger things. In 2010, a 1794 flowing hair silver dollar sold for over $10 million. So if a unique 1993D error coin exists, and if the right buyer comes along, it's not out of the realm of possibility. What this really means is that every quarter you come across could potentially be a hidden gem. So next time you get change at the store, take a moment. Check those quarters, especially the ones with a D-mint mark from 1993. You might just be holding on to a small fortune without even knowing it. Before we wrap up, a quick word of advice. If you think you found a rare or valuable coin, don't clean it. That can reduce its value dramatically. Instead, store it carefully and consider getting it professionally graded. There are many reputable grading companies out there, and that step can make all the difference when it comes time to sell or showcase your find. Alright folks, that's all for today's deep dive into the 1993D Washington quarter, a coin most people overlook. Yet it might be one of the most valuable pieces hiding in plain sight. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more coin stories and collector tips, and drop a comment if you've ever found an interesting quarter in your change. Thanks for watching, and remember, a treasure is everywhere. You just have to know where to look. Would you like a shorter version or voiceover style script next? Welcome back to the channel where history meets hidden treasure. Rarest coins. If you love coins, rare finds, or the thrill of discovering unexpected value in everyday places, then you're going to want to pay attention to this one. Today, we're talking about the 1986p Washington quarter dollar. At first glance, it might seem like just another coin from your pocket change, but there's a story behind this quarter that could turn spare change into serious wealth. Some reports suggest that rare 1986p quarter sold for as much as $1.5 million. Yes, $1.5 million. So let's get into the history, the details, and how you might spot a life-changing coin hiding in plain sight. Let's start with the basics. The Washington quarter has been part of American coinage since 1932, introduced to celebrate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. The original design, featuring a left-facing portrait of Washington on the obverse and a heraldic eagle on the reverse, remained relatively unchanged for decades. By 1986, this classic design was still in use, but the production process and minting standards had evolved significantly. The 1986p Washington quarter was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, as shown by the small letter P located just to the right of Washington's ponytail on the obverse. That year, the Philadelphia Mint produced over 551 million quarters, making it a very common coin in terms of the total mintage. So naturally, you might wonder, how can such a common coin be worth over $1 million? The answer lies in two powerful factors that drive coin value: rarity and error. In most cases, high value comes from an extremely rare minting mistake, a unique variation, or a combination of both, especially when preserved in top condition. Now here's where things get exciting. Among all those hundreds of millions of quarters, a very small number of 1986p quarters are believed to have been struck with major mint errors. We're talking about coins that were struck on the wrong plankett, struck multiple times, or even struck with misaligned dies. Errors like these are incredibly rare and highly prized by collectors. There's one story in particular that has circulated within the numismatic community, the tale of a 1986p quarter believed to have been struck on a pure silver plankett, rather than the standard copper nickel-clad composition. Now let's be clear, no 1986 quarters were supposed to be struck in silver. But if even one slipped through the minting process by accident, it would be a one-of-a-kind coin, a true minting anomaly. And in the coin world, One of a kind equals priceless. According to reports, one such 1986p error quarter was discovered and eventually sold through a private collector network for a staggering $1.5 million. While the exact details remain private and unverified by public auction records, the story is enough to spark a wave of interest and curiosity about 1986p quarters. So how can you tell if your 1986p quarter is valuable? First, start with the basics. A regular circulated 1986p quarter in average condition is worth just its face value, 25 cents. But if the coin is in uncirculated or mint state condition, especially graded MS65 or higher, it can already be worth more, sometimes up to $20 or $30. That's a nice start. But we're not looking for nice, we're looking for extraordinary. Look for mint errors. These are the holy grail of modern coin collecting. Use a magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe to closely examine your coin. Check the date, the lettering, the mint mark, and the edge. You're looking for things like doubling of letters or numbers, off-center strikes, missing layers, or anything that looks out of the ordinary. If your coin feels heavier or lighter than a standard quarter, that could also be a sign of a wrong plankett strike. Next, pay close attention to the coin's color and luster. If the coin appears silver in color but has no trace of copper along the edge, you may be holding a silver plankett error, which is extremely rare. You can weigh the coin to be sure. A regular 1986 quarter should weigh about 5.67 grams. A silver quarter would weigh closer to 6.25 grams. If your coin lands outside the standard range, it could be a game changer. And don't forget about condition. Even a rare error coin loses value if it's damaged, scratched, or worn. That's why mint state coins, especially those graded by professional services like PCGS or NGC, always command the highest prices. If you think your 1986p quarter might be special, don't try to clean it. Don't polish it. Just handle it carefully by the edges and get it professionally graded. A certified grade and error verification can be the difference between a few bucks and $1 million windfall. Now let's talk numbers. While most 1986p quarters are worth between 25 cents and a few dollars, high-grade versions can sell for $100 or more. Error coins, especially dramatic ones, can bring in hundreds or thousands. And then there's the unicorn, the mystery coin that reportedly sold for $1.5 million. Whether it was because of a unique plankett error, an ultra-rare strike, or a combination of factors, that coin's story has kept collectors searching and dreaming. So what can we learn from all this? It's simple. Never underestimate the value of your change. Just because a coin looks ordinary doesn't mean it is. The 1986p Washington quarter may not seem like anything special until it is. Until you find the one with the rare strike, the flawless surface, the mysterious weight, or the silver glow. And then, that 25-cent coin could become the find of a lifetime. Thanks for watching, and if you've enjoyed this video, hit that like button, subscribe for more amazing coin stories, and leave a comment down below. Have you ever found something rare in your change? Got a 1986p quarter sitting in a drawer? Let us know. Your story could be next. Until next time, keep your eyes open, your coin safe, and your curiosity alive, because the next $1 million coin might be closer than you think. Let me know if you'd like a version formatted for voiceover, shorts, or with on-screen visual cues for editing. Welcome back to the channel where coins turn into stories and pocket change turns into treasure. Rarest coins today. We're going deep into the world of one very interesting coin, the 1995D Washington quarter dollar. Now, on the surface, this might seem like just another common coin from the 1990s. Something you might skip over without a second thought. But that could be $1 million mistake. Literally. There's a story floating around about one of those quarters being worth as much as $1.2 million. That's right, a single 1995D quarter possibly carrying a value that could buy a house, a couple of luxury cars, or even set you up for retirement. Let's talk about the coin's history, what makes it special, and how one lucky find might have changed someone's life. To understand this coin, We have to go back to the basics. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 to honor the 200th birthday of the first U.S. president, George Washington. The design we all know and recognize, with Washington's bust on the front, was created by John Flanagan and became a lasting image on American coinage. By the time we get to 1995, the U.S. Mint was still producing the standard Washington quarter with the eagle on the reverse. This was just a few years before the big redesign in 1999 when the 50-state quarters program was launched. The 1995D quarter was struck at the Denver Mint, which is what the little D beneath the meadow in God We Trust signifies. That year, the Denver Mint produced over 1.1 billion quarters. So at first glance, it seems like the 1995D quarter isn't rare at all. But rarity in the coin world isn't always about how many were made. It's about how many have survived in pristine condition, and even more importantly, whether any of them have unique characteristics or mint errors that set them apart. Now here's where things start getting interesting. Among collectors and dealers, there are whispers about a specific 1995D Washington quarter with an extreme error or unique minting anomaly that allegedly sold in a private deal for a staggering $1.2 million. While this hasn't been confirmed through a major public auction, the story has fueled a wave of interest in 1995D quarters. So what could make one of those coins worth that much? Let's break it down. One possibility is that the coin was struck on the wrong plankett. That means it could have been accidentally minted on a blank meant for another denomination, for example, a dime or even a foreign coin. When this happens, the size, weight, and appearance of the coin are all affected. These types of errors are extremely rare and highly valuable. Another possibility is a double die error, where the design is struck twice and slightly offset. That results in a noticeable doubling effect on the lettering or numbers. These kinds of errors are very collectible and can be worth thousands, especially if the doubling is bold and visible without a microscope. There's also the chance that the $1 million coin was in an exceptionally high grade like MS-69 or even MS-70. Which means it was struck perfectly and preserved without any flaws. While MS-70s for circulated coins like quarters are almost unheard of, if one exists, it would certainly fetch a record-breaking price at auction. So how do you know if you're holding a valuable 1995D quarter? First, examine the condition. Most coins that have been in circulation will show signs of wear, scratches, dulling, nicks, or damage. But if your coin looks brand new, shiny, and nearly flawless, you might have something worth grading. Coin grading companies like PCGS and NGC use a 70-point scale to judge a coin's condition, and anything above MS-66 is considered top tier. Second, look for errors. Use a magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe to examine the coin carefully. Check the lettering, especially Liberty and In God We Trust. Look at the date and mint mark. If you see any unusual doubling or extra lines, you could have a valuable double die coin. Third, check the weight. A standard 1995D quarter should weigh 5.67 grams. If yours weighs significantly more or less, it may have been struck on the wrong plankett, which could make it extremely rare. Lastly, consider sending the coin in for professional grading. While it might cost a little money, having your coin authenticated and graded can dramatically increase its value and make it more attractive to serious collectors or investors. Now, let's talk money. A typical circulated 1995D Washington quarter is worth about 25 cents, maybe slightly more to the right buyer if it's in excellent condition. But once you start getting into uncirculated examples, high mint state grades, or rare error coins, the value climbs fast. Some MS-67 examples have sold for over $100. And if that legendary $1.2 million coin is real and you happen to find another one like it, well, you just hit the jackpot. So what's the takeaway here? Don't ignore your pocket change. That everyday quarter you toss on your dresser at the end of the day might actually be a rare gem, especially when it comes to coins from the 1990s, where minting technology was modern but not perfect, and errors still happen more often than you'd think. Before we close, One final piece of advice: never clean your coins. It might seem like a good idea to polish them up, but collectors and grading services value originality over shine. Cleaning a coin can scratch it, strip its natural patina, and destroy its value. Handle your coins carefully, store them properly, and when in doubt, get a second opinion from a professional. That wraps up today's deep dive into the 1995D Washington quarter, a coin that most people overlook, but in one rare case, might have been worth $1.2 million. If you've enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel for more coin stories and collecting tips, and drop a comment below if you've ever found an unusual quarter or have a coin you think might be valuable. Thanks for watching, and remember, every coin has a story. Yours might just be $1 million one. Let me know if you'd like visual guide cues added for video editing, a shorter version for social media, or a voice-over ready format.